Hello, audience. This is Professor Timothy Melbinger of Penn State University, recording in June of 2021, a full 55 years after the recording of the song I'm going to discuss today, Joni Mitchell's Both Sides Now. This is the channel in which I discuss songs in detail, but it's going to be more than just the lyrics. You see, the lyrics are good. We need the lyrics, unless it's an instrumental music, of course. But I mean, in songs, usually we get the singer, and the music should have something to do with those lyrics. And if it doesn't quite work as well. You wouldn't like the same songs you like if the music were not supportive of what's going on in the words. Okay, so along the way, I'm going to talk about notes and harmonies and rhythms and consonance and dissonance and form, and I'm going to use some other technical terms, but I'm going to describe them as well as I can, at least, in plain English. And I hope you can take things away from this song and then like the song better, for one, of course, but then be able to hear the same kind of techniques used in other songs you like. Because she didn't invent every idea we hear here. I mean, the song is original, but the ideas have been used in music for thousands of years. So, well, maybe not thousands of years in every case. But when you can enjoy this and other songs better, when you can listen to them and rather than just hearing them go by, you're transcending your mundane daily activities. It's a good thing for humans to do. So let's get to it. Canadian singer-songwriter Joni Mitchell wrote this song, Both Sides Now, in 1966, and it was originally released on a live compilation album later that year. She didn't record the studio version we now know, and the one I'll play in a second, until 1969. So what happens in the interim? Well, a lot with that song. It turns out then fellow singer-songwriter Judy Collins turns it into a big hit in 67. The song sounds a lot different than Mitchell's original, but it certainly helped matters for Mitchell. And then this song, I don't know, it clarifies matters for me because I think it's much better, and I think you'll agree once you get to know the different versions, if you want to get to know the different versions, because that will take you strange places. Old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra, records the song in 68, and then, would you believe, Leonard Nimoy, who plays Spock on Star Trek, actually sang the song when he was trying to sell records in 1968. Okay, they get an A for effort, but the song's just not as good. Okay, so she records the album at A&M Studios in Hollywood, California, and she is also the producer, which means there's no person sitting in between her and the microphone suggesting things, trying to craft the song into something that the record studio might think will sell better. Okay, that person is gone, and we're probably hearing exactly what Mitchell originally heard or originally crafted in 66. Now, there is another version I want to talk about near the end of this presentation. In 2000, she records many more songs with a full orchestra, and this is one of them, a 70-piece orchestra, in fact, and Both Sides Now changes considerably. However, that version is even better when you know this version and you know what has happened to the song along the way. Okay, it couldn't be more intimate. It's just voice and guitar. She has what we call an alto voice, primarily low, although she will sing high notes in the song. And the guitar is not the guitar we're used to hearing around the campfire. Oh, it's an acoustic guitar, and she's picking and mostly strumming throughout the song, and I'll point out the differences because it does matter. But what she's using here is called an open tuning. So can you see on my little examples over here, standard guitar tuning, E, A, D, G, B, E. Okay, Yeah, I'm playing that on a synthesizer with a guitar, with a piano sound here. But there it is. It doesn't make a sound that anyone wants to hear if you just play the open strings. Okay, that's why they're always fingering things, right? In this case, she has retuned 3 of the strings so that she gets a nice E major chord. If she just strums the strings, the open strings, and doesn't even put her fingers down anymore, she gets a happy E major chord. Okay, except there are no E major chords in the song because she's added one more thing. It's called a capo. It's a little device you strap onto the guitar neck and it sort of clamps down wherever you want it. In this case, she has clamped it down on the 2nd fret, which means her new open strings are F sharp major. Okay, so that's what I have here. The changes from the standard tuning to open tuning, and then everything cranked up a whole step with this capo device. Okay, so look, we're not used to hearing songs in either this tuning or with the capo up on F sharp. Okay, music in F sharp major, extremely rare. I don't know if you learned your key signatures when you were a kid, but this one has 6 sharps in it. Okay, so it's just not one of the typical guitar keys. Okay, now that doesn't make it better or worse. It just makes it a little exotic. A song that sort of a sound that sort of sticks in your ear as being a little different from what you're used to hearing. Okay, and so I think she uses that to her advantage. Okay, so let's move on then to talk about harmony and from the guitar in the initial verse, or what I call the verse cycles here. Okay, so the first thing we hear is neither verse or chorus, but it's just a strumming pattern with 2 harmonies, and I'm going to call it the instrumental interlude, because when it comes back, when it appears later in the song, in this original form, it's going to come back later between the chorus and the next verse, so we call that instrumental interlude. But it's not to be dismissed, because the things she introduces here affect what will happen in the verse right after this when she begins singing. So let's have a look. Here we go with, this pattern. So that's my computer playing it on a piano sound. But what it is mostly is that F sharp chord I was telling you about, with a couple different notes then stuck in. These 2 notes, it's a D sharp and a B, and they go back down to notes that were there in the original chord. So you hear this, and then a little of this, this, and then a little of this, the first thing. Okay, that's it. Okay, what we're hearing is music that is primarily the same chord. Notice how the same bass note, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, is there every single time she strums. However, the stuff in the middle, there's an F sharp on top, that is there every time as well. The stuff in the middle, okay? This sound moving to this sound. Okay, that's the only harmonic motion in there. So to me, it really doesn't distract from the overall sense of an F sharp major chord. That's why I've given the name of that second chord sort of a question mark as it appears. We could call it B, add a 9th over F sharp in the bass, but really it's just an elaborated F sharp chord. Okay, so what's going on? Parallel sixths. Okay, when I say sixth, I mean the distance between 2 sounds. Here's a second. Okay, here's a third. Much better. Here's a 4th. Here's a 5th. Not bad. Here's a 6th. Oh, sounds good, doesn't it? Yeah, it really does. Okay, now, when you move 6ths around in the same direction, well, they're called parallel 6ths. Okay, and there's even another one coming up. Okay, so it's not, these first 2 are not the only parallel 6ths in the song. Okay, now let me have Mitchell play it, because would you believe it sounds better on guitar? Here we go. Up, back down. Up, back down. Back up, and back down. Now the verse. Okay, so those are that's what we hear at the very beginning. That sound, that device of moving notes in the middle of the chord and keeping the notes on the top and the bottom the same, continues in the verse. Now I'll get to what the melody. The melody is the best part of the song. We'll get to that in a second. But let me lay down the accompaniment first. The moment the verse starts, harmonically we hear a chord that it's an F sharp chord again, but now with an E sharp in it. So that means that sound is actually in the harmony. Do you hear it? The E sharp. Okay, not a mistake. No, she's trying to mark the beginning of the verse and the verse cycle. We're going to hear this a few times with a dissonance. Okay, it's dissonant with the F sharp below it. Hear that? And it's dissonant with the F sharp above it. Okay, yes, prettier on guitar than me slamming it out on the piano, I know, but I just want to make sure you hear it. Okay, well then what happens? Well, we hear, and then C sharp with E sharp goes down to B with D sharp. Okay, so, and then there's another chord. It's this weird thing, and then we're back to what? This thing, and back to F sharp. Okay, in the chart I have on the left of the screen here, I've pointed out where those sixths are and how they move from one chord to the next. The little lines connecting them, those are not slides. Although actually she will have to move her fingers in that direction. It's just I've added those just to highlight how those notes change in each chord. Okay, so along the way I get 4 harmonies by this time, or actually 3. Another one called C sharp 7 sus 4. Okay, this will return later and it will be an important harmony in the piece. And it only gets a little quarter note worth of time here, but again I've added a what is that? A question mark there because it's not the strongest harmony I've ever heard in the world. It's not like I still hear everything revolving around F sharp, and in fact F sharp remains on top in every chord. Okay, so. Let's move on to what her vocal melody, which of course carries the lyrics, and that's important. But the specific notes and shapes, that connect the whole melody, end up telling a story. Okay, it's just not. Well, I mean, the lyrics tell a story too, but the way the notes are related are important. Okay, so what do we get? Here are the first words. Bows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air. 2 fragments. The first descends, right? It's sort of, wobbles before it goes down. Bows and flows of angel hair and ice cream. Now, I know this little chart I hear looks hopelessly complicated, but what I'm trying to point out is the first word of every measure, bows, and then angel, and then ice, of ice cream here, are related. Bows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles. Before she moves higher, the note, the melodic line falls down. It's descending, okay, from C sharp to B to A sharp. That's not too big of a deal, except it's going to come back in a minute. You'll see what I mean. The second fragment ascends. Ice cream castles in the air. Sorry about the voice. I'm a piano player. But, okay, the castles are in the air. Okay, now, we don't even know what she's talking about. What the hell's an ice cream castle doing up in the air? I know. She's talking about cloud formations here. We'll hear about that in a few measures later. But yeah, do you remember when you looked up at the clouds and you try to guess, you try to imagine what you're seeing? She's seeing angel hair and ice cream castles and feather canyons coming up in a second, okay? And she would later say she wrote the song while in an airplane looking out the window. And that's, well, from both sides of the clouds, up and down, you certainly see different angles. Anyway, up in the air now. When she actually says in the air, her voice is higher. She's up to F sharp. Okay? The third fragment, she goes even higher. And feather canyons, oh, not castles, canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way. What's happening in the second half here? Well, she gets to her high note right away. Feather. We have 16th notes, faster notes than we've heard before. Leaping up. Okay, feathers are light. They blow in the breeze. Makes sense. Feather canyons. So between feather and canyons, it's A sharp up here to canyons down here. Okay, the distance, the interval again, between those two notes is called a major seventh, and it's dissonant. Do you hear it? Okay, it could have been an octave. It could have been B to B. Yeah, no, it was A sharp to B, and it matters. It catches your ear a little bit. Now, it's not the first dissonance we've heard in the harmony, right? We've heard some of those dissonances already, but it's the first dissonance in the melody now. It's a clue, okay, that, you know what, these feather canyons, these ice cream castles in the air, something's not quite right about these clouds. Remember, before she even sang bows and flows, we heard this sound, right? With the dissonant E sharp stuck in there. Something's not right. There's some cognitive dissonance going on right here. And even though we're hearing about a nice view of clouds here, that's not the overall impression of the song. So she's pointing ahead to the point in the song where these references will have a more mature, or at least rich, association with other ideas. Okay, so jumping down to canyons. Feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way. It jumps down to B, gets back to our original C sharp, back to B again, and then skips to G sharp. Okay, the G sharp moves the A sharp of the end of the first ascent down a step lower. Do you hear that? Well, not right away. But you know what? She left that A sharp hanging there. With ice cream castles in the air. The A sharp was the low point of the ascent. And then she when she falls back down, she fools around with the notes on C sharp and B right above it, and then skips it on the way to I've looked at clouds that way, this G sharp. And that's the end of, well, at least the first half of the verse cycle. Okay, so it gets essentially from C sharp down to B to A sharp and much higher, but eventually down to G sharp, and it's a point of rest. Okay, it's not a point of stability. No, actually, that's not a good place to end. G sharp is not a good place to end in a song that's in F sharp. Here she is stuck on G sharp, but it forms at least a point of temporary rest in the song. Okay, furthermore, when we combine the harmonies I've been telling you about with the dissonances in the guitar I've been telling you about, let's see what goes on here. Bows and flows of angel hair. Okay? Now her voice is up here on bows and flows of angel hair. Those particular notes move within the F sharp harmony, and the notes moving with them in her left hand of the guitar are consonant with those notes. So bows is a happy sixth with the E sharp. Bows and flows works with the D sharp below it of angel hair. Okay, in each case, the notes that would otherwise be dissonant and perhaps a little bothersome in the key of F sharp major are paired with a consonant note in the primary harmony that makes it sound overall like a sweeter sound. Okay? Now, I wouldn't make this big of a deal about it if not for the fact that she spends so much time with that low F sharp and the high F sharp open strings in the guitar, in both the verse and the chorus. Okay, the song might appear to be static at that level, but within that, she's creating tension and release with the way the notes other than F sharp work together in the key of F sharp. Okay, so on that level, it's not static, it's moving, it's dynamic, and it's brilliant. Okay, so let's move on to the chorus. Um, Here we go on my next page here. First of all, the second time through the verse cycle, she ends with, I've looked at clouds that way. Oh, after she tells us that clouds and rain and sun have ruined many a parade, or maybe I'm just thinking about a parade that has been ruined by rain because I've seen it happen. But she's mentioning that, you know what, it's not just these happy cloud formations that we see. Clouds, rain, ruins things. How did you see that in my little uh, notifications that came up that a severe thunderstorm warning is supposed to be issued for this afternoon? Anyway, when she says, I've looked at clouds that way, here's a harmony on way. Okay, great. I mentioned that as a nice marker, as an ending of the verse. But she does something a little different at that point. That she plays a couple notes that are outside the key of F sharp major. She plays E natural, E, D sharp, D, C, A natural, and then F sharp. So da 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 doesn't belong in our F sharp chord right there, but yet there they are. And she's reached for something called the blues scale here. Okay, the lowered seventh, the lower third, that should be these notes in the harmony, the scale, are now a little lowered, and it's just a guitar fill. It's just telling us, hey, wait a second, listen to this. Something important is coming up. Okay, she could have put it anywhere. She put it directly in between the verse and the chorus, so that you would lean in your ear, your attention, just for a second and say, wait, what's going on there? And then get rewarded by the new music that's coming out, that's coming in a second, which is our chorus. Okay, so it's strategically placed, is all I'm getting at, right? We're not going to hear much of E natural and A sharp coming up later, except in these little connective tissue areas. Okay, let's move on. The chorus. She begins singing higher, or should I say a little bit higher. Remember, the highest note in the verse cycle before was A natural on the word, or sorry, A sharp on the word feather. Feather canyons, right? Okay, now she begins the whole chorus there. I've looked at clouds. I've looked at clouds. There it is from both sides now. She slides a little bit off of sides now on the way to this low C sharp. That was the beginning of the song. Okay, so it happens again. From up and down, and still somehow. 3 times in these first 4 measures. Oh, and 4 measures, by the way, is a longer segment than the two bar things she had been working with in the verse, by the way. So we hear a longer stretch of material here. But it's the leap down from A sharp to C sharp, and then again with up and down, and still somehow a 3rd time. The words are up and down. The word up is up, the word down is, you guessed it, down. Okay, let's hear her do it because she sounds much better than I do singing. So I think we're in the verse here. Yeah, let's go back to the verse. Here's the ascent and a quick descent to canyons. Hey, what else is it about canyons that is low? Well, right, She's not looking at clouds. She's looking as if they are canyons, deep structures in the ground. So when she says feather canyons, she's opening up a melodic space that seems to be descriptive of a physical space. So I forgot to mention that before. Oh, it's so good. Okay, so here we go. Second time through the verse cycle. Where is it? Where are you, Joni? There we go. She says, but now they block the sun. That's, oh, great. She certainly doesn't distort her voice. It's my recording. Okay, I should mention that too. She says so many things I could have done. Again, so many things are up in the air and then could have done. Much lower. It's that major seventh leap between things that I could have done. It's disappointment, right? So many things, it's up in the air in the higher vocal range. It's hopeful. And then I could have done that are not being done because of rain. Yeah, it rained like hell at my graduation ceremony in college. We were under a tent, thankfully, but no, it wasn't a beautiful day. You remember things like that. Okay, so here we go, the chorus. Now, listen to how she starts high up there, exactly on the high note she had set up from before. So she was promising a higher region of music that she abandoned twice before in the verse. Now she fulfills that promise, and here we are. It's climbing around and up above A sharp, and then, well, curiously, down by a sixth again. So, Joni, you sing. There it is. Up and down, still somehow it's cloud illusions. I recall, and the end of the chorus. Okay, so what happens in the second half? She's got, well, the first half, everything's higher except these low C sharps. Okay, the leap, here I am again, the leap down from A sharp to C sharp again seems to be pointing to that C sharp as if something's wrong again. Okay, when you see something from both sides, you're looking at it, well, perhaps from above and below, or perhaps from a good side and a bad side. At least that's what she's implying in how the events are either good things or bad things. And physically, she has looked at clouds from both sides now. If you've been in an airplane, sometimes you get the most amazing views from above the clouds, not necessarily going through it. Okay, so she's not talking about clouds. Come on, she's talking about her life experience. Like my rainy graduation, things didn't go well because of clouds. And now that's going to happen in the second verse and third verse, and she's going to be talking explicitly then about looking at events in love and life, much bigger topics that can be approached from two ways. Okay, but back to the chorus here, right? The jump from the high range to the low range 3 times is significant. She seems to be promising that something's going to happen down here. At least if she doesn't get to that note, it would sound colorful, sure, right? It's her, it's a different level in her voice. It would be colorful, but it's not colorful. It is colorful. I mean, it's meaningful. For what happens right after that, here we go. Okay, here's the end of the second half of the chorus. So after coming down to C sharp 3 times, she jumps up, but only to F sharp. It's clouds, illusions, I recall. Okay, so the beginning of the second half starts falling down from F sharp. Clouds, illusions, I recall. So she steps down with every note in the scale down to C sharp. Okay, so the C sharp now is not just hanging there as a low note. She fills in the higher range. Clouds, illusions, I recall. To C sharp and I recall. She jumps away to another F sharp. Hey, she jumped to a high F sharp and then clouds, illusions, I recall, down to a low F sharp. That's our new low note, by the way. Jumps back to C sharp. I really don't know clouds. Every note, from C sharp to B to A sharp to G sharp to F sharp. Every note from C sharp to F sharp in our scale here. And then she repeats the end of that little descent at all. Okay, so let's let her sing it. She's better at it. Joni, do it again.
Up and down, still somehow
Here we go.
it's cloud illusions.
Back to the C sharp.
I really
Don't know clouds. Oh, some distortion. Okay, she's back to the instrumental interlude. My computer is acting up and distorting some of the sound horribly. But, okay, so what else is going on here? She's really emphasizing the end of the chorus, okay? She rejoins the low range that she established in the very first few measures, the very first two measures of her vocal line, with the really don't know clouds at all. And that's the point. She's trying to tell us that she has seen both sides of clouds, and that it's not exactly true. She does know something about clouds. She's being modest here. She really does. She's saying she's seen them from both sides. But then she's going a step further and tells us, you know what? I really don't know clouds at all because there's more to learn. Okay? It's not a simplistic version and it's not a negative version. It's both and it's more. That's what she's getting at here. Okay, so the voice keeps stepping down in a directed fashion, right? She's not leaping all over the place like she did with the feather canyons in the air, right? Now it's directed towards this low F sharp. But the first low F sharps, I don't know clouds. It's too early. In fact, it's not the harmony really hasn't moved anywhere. As soon as she gets to that low clouds, she's going to move the harmony again to this harmony I promised you from measure 2 of the verse. C sharp 7 with an added an added F sharp and it's stuck in there. Okay, this sort of neutral sounding harmony, but certainly not F sharp. Okay, the only thing we have where the bass finally gets away from F sharp, she spends a full 2 measures on that with clouds. And then she starts picking for the first time. Okay, so let's look at that guitar part. It's over here. When she gets the clouds, first we have a strum, and then picking. At all. Back to F sharp. Okay, so the change to picking is one thing, and she, elaborates upon that different harmony where we finally get away from and the C sharp in the bass. So there's a ... at that moment. The word is ellipsis, right? You know what I mean? ... And they lived happily ever after, or something like that. And it's not just that. It's the symmetry of the song. Here's what I mean. Everything has been groups of 2 plus 2, or 4 plus 4 in this song, okay? The beginning of the chorus, I've looked at clouds from both sides now, up and down, and still somehow 4 measures, okay? So she pairs that with the second half of the chorus. It's cloud illusions, I recall. I really don't know clouds. Wait. And then at all. Okay, that's 5 measures, okay? Again, everything has been groups of 2 or 4, okay? And I know 2 and 4... go into each other. So it's been a very square presentation of material from measure 1, 2 measures, or 4 until we get finally here. She knows she has set up that pattern, and to have something that's longer than 4 leans forward with this harmony that's not yet quite there yet, and then at all. Wow, wait, not that. At all, there, that. And we're back to F sharp. It's a 5-bar grouping in a song where everything else has been insistently 4. It matters, okay? You lean in, not just because of that. Hey, she gets softer at this point. She's not strumming. She didn't really strum aggressively before, but she had accented things along the way. But at this point, she starts picking, and the sound gets lighter, softer. Her voice on the word clouds gets softer and then goes away for 3 beats. Okay? And then she says, well, almost solo. The guitar's just hanging there, and the voice says, "At all." Okay, um, it's reduced to its bare bones, and then just the solo line saying, "Hey, I don't know clouds at all." She's saying she's vulnerable. She's saying she's not that she's not that wise, even though she is wise. She's seen both sides, and yet she's got more to learn. And you know what? Again, she was 23. Maybe she's saying, if this is what I've learned in 23 years, there's a lot more I'm going to learn in the future. Okay? And it's true. I bet if we, surely she has said so in interviews since then, although I haven't explicitly heard that. Okay, so the second verse works this way, but she's talking about issues with love. The third verse works this way, and the third chorus as well works with issues of just life and how friends have grown and they tell her she's changed, but she doesn't feel and that things are strange with her that she's changed, implying, I think, that she's changed perhaps and the friends haven't. And you know what? That happens. That's one of life's hardest lessons, that time passes, you grow or you don't, and if you don't, you have other hard lessons to learn. But even when you do grow, some people don't grow at the same rate of change, or some people grow in the opposite direction and you grow apart. For those years you were together and happy and you grew apart, you can't get that back. You're different people as you age, and she knows that already at 23. And her friends are, it sounds like her friends are complaining with the line, well, here, let's let her sing it because it's much better. About here? No, wait, about here?
Feeling proud this every day. Feel somehow like
Where is it?
shake their heads.
They shake their heads. There, it's negative.
Well, something's lost,
But something's gained.
in living every day.
And she says, I'm with them every day. And why? Why not? You can be with people you used to know that have changed. I'm doing it. I'm doing it with people that have changed more than I've changed, for better or for worse, however you want to look at it, because it happens. And she says, I'm with them every day. Maybe it's just her memories. I'm not sure. It's not clear. Either way, it's wisdom. Okay, she's looking at life and love in new ways, and in the end, she sings a second time through the. I've looked at life from both sides now. Guitar part doesn't change. I've got all of the notes on these few pages over here. The harmonies remain the same. The harmonies remain expressive the whole time, even though, as I said, it's static at one level with these continual F sharps on top and very little change in the bass. It's what happens in the middle of the chord that works and works so well. Okay, so really that's it. The song, there are no other contrasting sections in the song, and I have no complaints about that. She's exploring an idea. In fact, with the return of verses with the same music, what we do is hear the verse in the same way we heard it before, so we don't have to pay attention to those changes, and we hear the changes in the text, in the poetry, in the lyrics. Okay, we've got that. We know what the music's going to do, so we can focus on the new things here, where she uses similar images with seeing things from both sides, but not talking about new topics, love and life, right? Okay, so overall, you get a song about life with more wisdom than you should hear from a woman her age. She is 23, and that's okay. She did go through some things I need not get into at this time in her life, but over the years, these things would play out exactly as she would say. Okay, she with life and love and friends and, well, and more clouds getting in the way. of picnics and various things, right? So when we hear the song redone in 2000 with orchestra, we hear a lower version. First of all, it's in E major because her voice overall has wear and tear on it. She doesn't have the same high notes. Oh, it's the same vocal melody, but it's a little lower, okay? A little deeper, a little richer in the overall pitch space, and there's no guitar. We hear the harmonies carried by the string instruments, right? That's in the orchestra. So that would be viola, violin, cellos, and basses. And there's this sustained feeling in the orchestra. I beg you to look at it. Um, I believe the album is called Both Sides Now, and it's the last track on there. Oh, and if you get a chance, when the next time you see the movie Love Actually from 2003, one of the characters gives his wife that CD, the exact CD with Joni Mitchell on the cover. Um, and but he has just been, well, cheating on her, and his wife just figures it out. And when she plays the CD, she's been a lifetime Joni Mitchell fan. She cries. It's Emma Thompson, if you know that actress, and it's perhaps the emotional peak of the movie, and things really change after that. Um, but it's this different version. It's an older Joni Mitchell, and what it is, you know, she's been through more in the intervening, what, 33 or 4 years, however we want to look at it. Okay, so that's it for this song. I hope you enjoy it more. If you already enjoyed it, good for you. I hope I've given you some things to listen for and some things, hopefully, to apply to other music as you approach it. If you want me to look at other songs and analyze them, by all means, enter it in the comments and I will put it on the big list. And then check back with this channel in a few days. I'm going to have more songs coming out soon. Bye, everybody.